Every single time I sit down to try and figure out what's going on between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, some new thing pops up and completely changes my opinion on the situation. So you know what I'm gonna do today? I have a bunch of notes. I've been sitting reading a bunch of articles. I've been reading this 80-page document. I'm gonna start from the beginning and try and figure out what's been going on with this movie, It Ends With Us. In 2019, the book It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover was announced to have a movie adaptation, and it was going to be starring Serena van der Woodsen and Raphael as the lead actors. He was also supposed to be the director of this movie. When it came to the promotion of this movie, it was very strange because Justin Baldoni really wasn't showing up to any of the press interviews with anybody else on the cast. He didn't take photos with people at the premiere, but why? He's the lead actor, he's the director, he's the producer, and people began to speculate what was going on. And this is when I found out about the movie, because people on TikTok were really making fun of the way that Blake Lively was promoting this film. If you read the synopsis about this film, it says that the author described it as the hardest book she's ever written because it explores themes of domestic violence and emotional abuse. Yet Blake Lively was treating it like the next Sex and the City movie, saying things like grab your friends and wear your florals to go watch the film.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Grab your friends, wear your florals, and come see It Ends With Us in theaters. Also, I'm wearing Britney Spears' Versace dress.
Saving Private Ryan is about the horrors of war or the sacrifices that we have to make for freedom. I would say it's more like a guy group kind of outing, you know, like grab your best guy friends and go, because they're searching for their buddy. And you know what other movie has that? The Hangover. So think of this as like The Expendables meets The Hangover.
It's fun, it's romance, there's hot guys.
To honor the summer's hottest new romantic comedy, these are some of my other favorite female-led romantic comedy. Midsummer. Florence Pugh is just the queen of romantic comedies, right? This is a romantic comedy that takes place in Europe. It's kind of like Mamma Mia, actually. This movie is really about overcoming the odds as a couple.
And I think I saw Blake Lively promoting her hair care brand more than the movie itself. Justin was promoting the movie in a completely different way.
Even thinking about it is hard. There were a lot of times where I would have to go privately into a room and just cry or shake it out and try to get him out of me and that energy out of me because it's too real.
Then came all the stories of Blake Lively being called a mean girl, and people were digging up old interviews, and this journalist reposted one of these old interviews that she did called Blake Lively Interview That Made Me Want to Quit My Job.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
This is a classic high school bullying method, acting like you totally click with your bestie right in front of the third wheel to make them feel as excluded and ostracized and rejected as possible. Then in August, the movie was released and it got 55% of critics and 89% for viewers. And then on December 21st, the New York Times filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department against Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, the CEO of Wayfarer, the public relations experts, and the public relations experts hired by both men. Complaints for damages for sexual harassment, retaliation, failure to investigate, prevent, and/or remedy harassment, aiding and abetting harassment, breach of contract, international infliction of emotional distress, negligence, false light invasion of privacy, and interference with prospective economy advantage. So Blake Lively said that while filming, she was repeatedly sexually harassed by Justin Baldoni. She accused him of making inappropriate comments about her appearance. She said that he walked in on her when she was undressing. She said that he demanded she be nude in scenes in which the script did not call for nudity, and unexpectedly biting her during kissing scenes. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Miss Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their role. When Miss Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you." But after this came out, people read through it and they started to side with Blake Lively. Here, let me read a section here. During the January 4th meeting, the parties discussed in detail the inappropriate conduct that Miss Lively, her employees, and other cast and crew experienced at the hands of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Health. After the list below was reviewed and discussed in its entirety, all parties present agreed that the outlined conduct would cease. I'll just read the first three. No more showing nude videos of women women, including producer's wife. No more mention of Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath's previous pornographic addiction or Blake Lively's lack of pornographic consumption to Blake Lively or other crew members, and no more discussions to Blake Lively and her employees about personal experiences with sex, including as it relates to spouses or others. This complaint goes on for another 70 odd pages, and it has text messages and it has stories like Mr. Baldoni inserted improvised gratuitous sex content in highly unsettling ways. But what did Justin Baldoni say? Well, he said that everything was categorically false. He accused Lively of trying to salvage her own negative reputation, which she garnered when people began to generate their own views and opinions. His team says that Blake Lively engaged her own team to plant negative and completely fabricated and false stories with the media. And then this led to December 31st, when Justin Baldoni decides to sue the New York Times for $250 million. On December 31st, Baldoni and his publicist sued the New York Times for libel, claiming that if the newspaper truly reviewed the thousands of private communications it claims to have obtained, its reporters would have seen evidence that it was Lively, not the plaintiff, who engaged in calculated smear campaign. Wait, what evidence would they have seen?
I told y'all Blake Lively was full of shit.
For example, in Blake Lively's complaint, she says that Justin Baldoni was trying to get her to wear sexier outfits for the film, and she was feeling objectified. But Justin Baldoni came out with text messages, and it was her idea to wear the sexier outfits. We'll show you both ways, but Beanie is much sexier. And also in Blake Lively's claim, she said that Justin was walking in on her while she was changing. Throughout filming, Mr. Baldoni invaded Miss Lively's privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. But also in these text messages, Blake Lively said, "I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work on our lines." According to the 87-page lawsuit, the Times relied on cherry-picked and altered communications stripped of necessary context and deliberately spliced to mislead. Obviously, the New York Times denies any of this, and they said that their story was meticulously and responsibly reported. That's all we know so far. Brian Friedman, who's the lawyer representing Justin Baldoni, said that the legal action against the New York Times will not be the last lawsuit, and that Justin Baldoni is absolutely planning to sue Blake Lively after having filed a libel lawsuit against the New York Times, and also that they plan to release every single text message between the two of them. This is the movie from hell. I honestly don't understand what's been going on with this movie. Ever since its inception, nothing but bad things have happened, from the press tour to the aftermath, and it even seems like this started before the movie was even being filmed. And the more I read about it, the more I get confused. This is turning into another Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, and we don't know what's the truth. Like, I was watching somebody explain the situation on TikTok, and this was posted 7 days ago, and she was clearly on Blake Lively's side. But then 2 days ago, people are here and they're like, wait, an update is needed since Justin Baldoni has started his lawsuits exposing a lot that was left out. Update with new information. And that's why it took me so long to even think about talking about it, because clearly you just don't know what's going on until you hear all the information. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below and stay hydrated.